Web server. A web server is a program that receives requests from your browser and sends back the web page you asked for. So the way this works is, when you type youtube.com into your browser sends a request over the internet. The web server receives it, finds the right files, the HTML, images, and styling, and sends them back. Your browser then displays the page you see. Without a web server, there's no way to access a website at all. The files exist somewhere, but nothing is listening for your request. But when a web server is running, it listens 24 hours a day and responds to thousands of users simultaneously. But a web server can only serve static content fixed pages that look the same for everyone. It cannot store user data or handle anything personalized. That's why almost every real website needs a second type of server working alongside it. Database server. A database server stores, organizes, and retrieves data for applications. Think about Instagram. When you open the app, the web server loads the page layout, but your photos, follower count, and username live in a database server. When your profile loads, the web server asks the database server for your data, and it responds in milliseconds. Without a database server, an app can show a fixed page, but it can't show your personal feed or remember anything about you. With one, the app becomes fully personalized. But the database server is also the most sensitive part of any system. If a hacker gets in, they get every username, password, and private record ever stored. This is why database servers are never exposed directly to the internet. They always sit hidden behind other layers. Application server. An application server sits between the web server and the database server and runs the actual logic of your app. When you click Buy Now on an online store, something has to check stock, apply discounts, charge your card, and update your order history in seconds. That's the application server. It receives the request, runs the logic, talks to the database when needed, and sends the result back. Without one, a website can only show static pages. With one, it becomes a fully working app. But if the application server crashes, the entire app goes down, even if both the web server and database server are running fine. This is why large companies run multiple application servers in parallel, so if one fails, the others keep handling requests. DNS Server translates a website name, like google.com, into a numerical IP address that computers use to actually find each other. Computers don't understand names. They use IP addresses like 142.250.80.46. So when you type google.com, your device first asks a DNS server, what's the IP? For this name, it responds in milliseconds, and your browser uses that number to connect. Think of it like a phone book. Without it, you'd have to memorize the exact number for every website you visit. But DNS is one of the most attacked parts of the internet. A DNS spoofing attack can redirect your bank.com to a fake site that looks completely real, and you'd have no idea. Also, every web address you type passes through a DNS server first, which means your internet provider can see every site you try to visit before you even load it. Mail server. A mail server handles the sending, routing, storing, and receiving of emails. When you hit send, your email goes to an outgoing mail server using SMT. That server finds the recipient's mail server and delivers it there. The recipient's mail server holds it until they open their inbox, where their app fetches it using IMAP or POP3. Without mail servers, email doesn't exist. Your device has no way to reach another person's device directly. But mail servers are constantly exploited by spammers. Because a mail server must be open to receive messages from anywhere on the internet, spammers use that same openness to flood inboxes. This is why email providers run massive filtering systems just to deal with the volume. Proxy server. A proxy server sits between your device and the internet and forwards your requests on your behalf. Instead of connecting directly to a website, your request goes to the proxy first. The proxy contacts the website, gets the response, and sends it back to you. The website only sees the proxy's IP, not yours. Without a proxy, every website you visit sees your real IP address and location. With one, your identity is masked. but everything passing through a proxy is visible to whoever runs it. Free proxy services are especially dangerous because you have no idea who's operating them. Some free proxies are set up specifically to steal usernames and passwords from anyone who uses them. File server. A file server is a centralized storage location that multiple users on a network can access and share files from. Instead of emailing files back and forth and ending up with 10 outdated versions, all files live on one server. Everyone works from the same source, and when someone saves a change, everyone sees it immediately. This is also exactly how Google Drive and iCloud work, just on a much larger scale. But if the file server goes down, no one can access anything, even if their own computers work perfectly. This is why important file servers use RAID storage, writing the same data to multiple drives simultaneously, so that if one fails, nothing is lost. Cloud server. A cloud server is a virtual server hosted in a data center by companies like Amazon, Google, or Microsoft, accessed entirely over the internet. Instead of buying hardware, you rent computing power. You tell the provider how much CPU and RAM you need, and a server is ready in minutes. If traffic spikes, you scale up. When it drops, you scale back down. With physical hardware, a sudden traffic spike crashes your site because the hardware has a fixed limit. With a cloud server, you handle the spike and scale back down without touching anything. But cloud servers are not always cheaper. Physical servers cost more upfront, but are cheap to run long-term. Cloud bills compound monthly, and at a large scale, they can reach hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. Some companies have actually moved back to physical servers after calculating that the cloud was costing them more. Game server. A game server runs a multiplayer session and keeps all connected players synchronized in real time. When you play online, you and every other player connect to one game server, not to each other. That server tracks every player's position, every shot fired, and every score update, then broadcasts that state back to all players dozens of times per second. Without a dedicated server, one player's device acts as the host. If that player has a slow connection, everyone suffers. A dedicated server removes that problem entirely, but game servers are heavily affected by physical distance. The delay between your device and the server is called ping. The farther you are from the server, the higher your ping, and in fast-paced games, even small delays are noticeable. This is why studios run servers across multiple regions. Virtual server. A virtual server is a simulated server that runs inside one physical machine alongside multiple other virtual servers. Powerful hardware gets divided into separate virtual environments. Each gets its own CPU, RAM, storage, and operating system, and they run completely isolated from each other. Without virtualization, one physical server running one small app wastes most of its computing power. With it, that same machine runs 10 independent virtual servers simultaneously, but virtual servers still share the underlying hardware. If the physical machine fails, every virtual server on it goes down together,